see. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. And then
Looks great.
all right. Cool. I'm gonna move this out of the way a little bit. So, all right, guys. So, as you guys saw in my post, I just wanted to start sharing a little bit more information. I've been challenged by a few people that I know, and they say, hey, you want to create some change, start to, talk about some of the deals. Everybody's for profit. Everybody's out there trying to grab at it and grab at your money. And, with my processes and my knowledge, I've been to quite a few seminars. I've bought into almost just about any program that's out there. And I've always gotten golden nuggets from all of them. I can't say I've read all of them all the way through, cover to cover or from front to end. But I've got a lot of knowledge, especially going on a lot of 3-day seminars. There's people like out there like Eddie Speed. I encourage you guys to go out to look at him. And there's people like Chris McClatchy. And then there's Larry Goines and just people like that really reached out and really grasped onto a lot of the stuff. And basically what I developed is kind of a hybrid of what all of them do. So the deals that I'm going to try to bring to you guys every now and then is when I do a deal, I'm going to talk about it. So I'm just going to show you how I structure it. And, as they say, this is knowledge, and sharing knowledge only makes us sharper as a unit. So the deal I want to talk about today is one that we just closed on last week. It's a subject to acquisition and a disposition, a walkthrough. And this is one that's locally here in Milwaukee that we came through. So a lot of people question is like, what is a subject to? What does that mean? It's basically to say here's the definition, is when a way of purchasing real estate where the real estate investors takes title to the property, but the existing loan stays in the name of the seller. In other words, subject to the existing financing, the investor now controls the property and makes the mortgage payments on the seller's existing mortgage. So basically, it simply says that if I'm willing to take over the mortgage payments, the deed is mine, that I have an interest in the deed. There's always a concern on doing that because there's what's called a due on sale clause that the banks can ride if they see a deed change. So one of the attorneys that I use is Amy Farrell. She's well known for helping me out, and we've structured quite a few of these deals so far, and we actually put them into like a trust. So the subject twos, every time I do a subject two, it's actually going into a trust account and that's a whole structure in itself. But I'm just telling you a little bit about what I do so that I don't get in trouble with the doing sale cause. So the property that I'm going to talk today about is this is right at 78th and Capitol. We got a this is the property right here. It's basically a three bedroom. Excuse me, keeps going back here. Whoops. Hold on one second here. Let me go back. There we go. There's the house. It was in very nice shape. Basically, all it really needed was a little bit of painting, some new flooring. We received this one through one of our Google sources, through our website. They came on. The Gerlin family, that's the seller, came to us and said, like, we're trying to sell this property. We need to sell it fast. We're deciding to move here. We need to move out of this and move into our apartment within 60 days, but we want somebody to buy it now. We want somebody to basically take over, the payments. And that being said, is so this is the actual property here is the 78th the Kappa, so it's um, really close. So um, the question is so Chris, how did you get this deal? First of all, so I'm going to start at the beginning here, and guys are more than welcome to ask questions as I go. Um, from the beginning here is we from the acquisition. I used to do the old way, which is Google ads directed to my website. The cost per click was about $22.50. Um, the old way, it took 10 clicks for a lead, which is about $222 per lead. So my statistics when I was just doing, I buy houses for cash and only cash with no other options, that it took almost 15 leads to make a deal. So my cost on a deal was about $3,300. And looking forward, and that was my old way of business about 3 years ago, and bringing that into the future here of how I'm doing business a little bit differently is I'm able to offer more options because I can offer more options. Use my only click through, which was very expensive keywords, was I buy houses for cash. Well, when you do buy houses for cash, you're competing against some really big hitters that are spending a lot of money. So, with the new way of thinking of differently outside the box, I'm able to go in there and just say, sell my house fast, sell my house for full price fast. So there's different options that we could do to lower our cost per lead. And this cost per lead, I don't want to act like I'm an expert at all on Google AdWords, because I'm not. I understand it, but I'm not able to really go in there, tweak out my AdWords. So I actually have somebody that handles this on a monthly basis for me. So we were able to go in and look at to buy cheaper leads, which costs about $15 per click and takes 8 clicks for a lead. So notice over to the left here, I had 10 clicks for a lead. And then over to the right, I have 8 clicks for a lead. And part of this was the quality of my website, the content of my website, which is a whole nother subject that I would be more than happy to share with you guys at a later time. But what happened here is when I was able to go in and I was able to start buying properties for cash, but also buying properties fast and at from full price, more and more people were starting to fill out the forms. So it took 6 leads for a contract here. Over to the left, you'll see it took 15 leads for a deal. And I have take 6 leads for a contract. Two different things: a deal versus a contract. And I always call that as ink. It's trying to get ink on paper, which is different than a deal, because a deal is like, let's just buy this one, we're going to wholesale this one out. That's all you're thinking. You think of getting in, getting out, or doing a rehab. Well, what you'll find out is with those sellers is a lot of times, you'll get some difficulties with getting those deals. So right here, I was able to get 6 leads for a contract, which my average saving per contract was about $2,500. Again, this took a lot of measurements from doing websites and whatnot. So I'm gonna go through the next phase here. So the old way, so I have here real quick, wait a minute, savings of $2,500 per contract, and why? So my old way of doing things was to only one way to buy things, and that was cash only. That's all I did. Is if they weren't interested in selling it to me for a certain price, I moved on. I only had one solution. My solution was not the solution they were looking for necessarily. It was always my way or the highway, meaning with this one solution, or I can't talk to you. The point where the old ways, I couldn't help everyone, meaning when they came to me, I couldn't help them out. And then there was the client owned too much money. These were all objections of why my old way was not working. I had more old ways of things not working than I had new ways. So then we decided to, between my agents and myself, we decided to look at different ways to approach things. So we started giving them more options. A couple of options right away from the acquisition part of side was to we could offer them a little bit more money. We could do, come up with a solution for like seller financing if they were willing to give us a subject to. We were able to also list their particular property, or we were able to come up with some kind of other solution that always seemed to fit them. And we also were willing to do short sales for them as well, which helped out. So I was like, here I was up the highway looking for, that they were looking for, meaning I gave them no roadblocks. When they came to me, I always had a solution. Whether or not they liked all the solutions we gave them, we had a solution. So it was by the time a client left us or decided not to use us, usually we found out that it was more particularly the issue with the client and not the resources that we were offering them. We Even with the clients that owed too much money on a property, we still found solutions. We either did a subject to, or we did a short sale or whatnot. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this particular house right here, the one that we just bought, the deal that I'm talking about. It's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, about 991 square feet. The ARV was 129, had about $10,000 of repairs, give or take. It could be a little less, a little bit more. All it was is basically a little bit of, it was lipstick on a pig. If you could see, actually in the background here, you can see that the gutters and the roof were in decent shape. The windows, it had high pride of ownership. So all we had to do is paint and carpet. The overall condition is, I would rate it a great condition. It was in really good condition. The seller owed $91,000. So I put this into my rehab estimator that I have, and we calculated out a cash offer. We came up with after repaired value at 129, and we came up with all the specifics, what our cost of money is, what our holding cost was. We also have a 20% margin, and we're plus or minus on this depending. Plus we came up here, I have about $18,000 with the repairs, but it could have fluctuated anywhere from 10 to 20 depending on what we wanted to do. And then we have a miscellaneous. So our cash offer was $70,262 on this particular property. Now, if you look at our cash offer that we offered, we gave them two options here. We actually gave them a third option, was to be able to list it, but the seller did not want to list it. They were very private. Keep in mind, when we bought this, was COVID-19 was just starting to peak. So like nobody was really showing houses. So they only wanted one person to go through a house, and that was it. They were not interested in any showings. So, and they were very private. So our cash offer was $70,000. And if you remember, the seller owed $91,000. So the seller would have had to come to closing with $21,000. The seller rejected it immediately, and that's what I call the no way approach, that they were not going to work with that. So myself and Eric, who is actually the realtor who helped me out with this particular one, he went out to the seller meeting. We came up with what's called a subject to offer, where we decided to take over the first mortgage at over 20 years at 2% interest. This one here was the sweetest deal. I've yet to get a 2% interest rate. This one is at 2%, so it was like a no-brainer. And if you remember, I said that the seller owned $91,000. Well, the seller had agreed to pay me $150 per month. They still owed $20,000 in a second mortgage. So they decided they just recently bought something on that second mortgage, and they felt obligated. So at the time, we were able to work it out so that they would pay me directly for their second mortgage. So I'm responsible for both mortgages getting paid. I get a check from the seller per month at $150 per month, but I pay the bank. So I'm basically right. I'm the servicer at that point. I'm the one who's taking the payments in and sending them out. This I also allowed the sellers to live rent free in their house for 60 days. The reason why is when you get a deal this sweet, you just want to close it. So we closed it within 10 days of our offer. We got it under contract. We just went ahead and we let them live in the house for 2 months. I paid the mortgage payments for 2 months on this. It was one of the things the least I could do. After the sellers turned over the keys. So let's just go back that. So they basically lived in the house for 2 months, turned over the keys at that point. I already started pre-marketing this on Facebook a little bit, and then I had also channels. So I got over 20 different buyers that were interested in this actual house. We only showed it to one buyer at the time. So it was somebody, the buyer was coming out of Chapter 13 successfully. The buyer had no debt, owns a successful daycare, owned an income property free and clear, so they have a duplex, and pays bills on time in the last 24 months. So she's been on time for the last 24 months on her energy bills, on her daycare bills, on everything. So she is definitely trying to make everything go. Right now, because she's been paying her Chapter 13 off successfully, her total debt to income with the home payments was sitting at 33%. But even knowing that, all the banks were telling her no, including Marine Credit and some of the other ones that are out there. So yeah, this is the buyer. So I want to show you what that looks like on how we set it up with the acquisition side of things and with the disposition. So I'm going to kind of zoom. I don't know if you guys could see over here. Let me go back to that. It won't let me really zoom into this. So over on the left-hand side is we have the acquisition side. My interest rate's 2%. I put the buy price at 91,000. Now notice I'm at the buy price at 91,000, but in essence, I'm only really at about 71,000 because the seller is taking care of the second mortgage. But for mathematical reasons, I'm leaving it in there. I paid $4,800 in closing costs. I paid my acquisition agent who went out there. I also paid for the closing costs at the title company, and I paid for all the legal documentation to do the subject to and to put it into a trust account. So my total cost was about $95,800. My total cash out, if you guys could see that, was $4,800. So we have $4,800. Keeps on it blank out on me. So we have $4,800 dollars out of my pocket. So the mortgage payment that was $91,000 that I would pay, and my monthly payments would be $478, not including the second mortgage, but that's about $478 in there. It's showing my total payments after time at 2% is $114,000. Came up with $4,800 in down payments, and my total payments was about $120. If you look at the right hand side, so the difference between the 2% and the 8%, that's called arbitrage. That's a difference between what I did the acquisition for and what I did the disposition for, meaning what I sold this to the buyer for. So I did 8%. That's my normal. I don't usually go, some people go 11, 12, 13%. I'm a candidate that likes to do 8%. So at that particular moment, I sold this one for $135. It wasn't even like negotiating at all. The buyer put down $10,000, of which that $10,000 I paid another real estate agent who brought me the buyer. I paid them $2,500 on it. So really, in essence, I'm back at $7,500. So if you look at the amortization schedule, is that buyer will be paying me $964 over. I actually have it over 30 years on this one. I gave her a 30-year note. And then the first mortgage, which is paid by the sellers, another $150. So my payments that I'll be receiving is $1,114 per month. My payments to the bank is $478. So my total cash flow on this is $635. Can everybody see that over here? Whoops. Okay. Can you guys see that okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. Okay. So the total payments that you could see is the total payments that you could see is $267,000 there over the time. It's actually, excuse me, it is 240 payments. So the total that I'm receiving here is 277,000 over time. If they keep that mortgage for the next, if they keep it for the whole 25 years or so, it'll be $277,000. So the difference on that between what I bought it for and by me doing arbitrage, the interest difference and everything else like that, my difference, my total net difference in payments will be about $157,000 more I will make on this property than what I paid for it by waiting for more time. So, it might have been really cool for me just to grab it and flip it and make a quick 15, 20K cash. But here I was able to flip it, or basically turn it over to somebody who couldn't get credit, had a great track record, somebody who I believed in. And I'm basically, if they were to wait the full 25 years out, which they probably won't, they'll probably refinance in the next 3 to 5 years. That's their plan. But still, if they were to go out that far, they could. That's a total profit of $157,000 over time. And clear, no property management fee, no maintenance, no getting calls about water heaters going out, no mowing the grass. I'm clearing $635 a month for basically having the seller and the buyer and creating solutions for both of them. And it's a plus situation here. So that's my deal, and I'm going to share the slideshow with you guys. So everybody that's on this call, I'll share it. I know I'll try to get you a better copy of that Excel spreadsheet so you guys can see it. But that was the deal that I worked last week on, and those are deals that are going on a weekly basis that come through. And everyone has a little bit of a different. So the main thing is creating a solution. Creating a solution for our sellers and our buyers. So that's the deal I wanted to talk about. What kind of questions do you guys have for me?
So do you do all your deals when you seller finance, do you do them all at 8%?
Yes, I do now. And that's a great question. I've been told by okay, so there's the Larry Goins way where he says you should charge 11%. Okay. And there's the mentor out there. Eddie Spees that's at 8%. And I side on between the 7 and 8% because it's more affordable, it's more doable, and it doesn't seem like you're gouging the people so much. I mean, they're still kind of like, wow, that's a lot of money. But mine is like, we'll go out and refinance it in 3 to 5 years. There's no prepayment penalties. So 8%'s been a very successful, and it just feels right as far from a point of view where I could sleep comfortably knowing that my seller's not or my buyer's not paying too much. Now, if that interest rate was like at 7%, we might have had to raise that up to 9 or 10. There should have been a bigger arbitrage there. But at 2%, I felt that 8% was good enough. But the more successful I am, like especially with investors that I'm doing them at 8%, my payments come on time. They're asking me for more inventory. I feel good by, I mean, that's a big number at the end of the day, so I try not to do I try not to do any less or any more than that. I try to keep it right at 8.
Okay. Yeah, that was my next question too. Yeah, so you kind of answered both. That was great. Thanks, Chris.
You bet. What else?
Hey, how about do you do those type of deals with commercial buildings, or is it just residential?
So the answer is not yet, but I will be. There's actually 3 buildings that I'm looking at right now with potential seller financing. And the crazy thing about that is a lot of people can't get business lending. So coming in at 8%, maybe even 9% on a commercial building, I think has a lot of potential to it. So there's 3 deals I'm currently working with right now. So like I'm hoping that they take that ball, because I feel that commercial buildings will get a lot easier to be able to do these deals, because there's going to be a lot less demand for commercial here shortly, as far as like buildings and stuff like that. So are you talking about like big ones, or are you just talking about like strip malls and stuff?
Yeah, I'm thinking more towards like the small business needs.
Like office
And maybe small parking areas, like a lot, possibly.
Got it. Yeah, those are making a lot of money. Parking lots make a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can't finance them. The other one too that I'm really strongly looking to doing this into is the storage. There's one person I'm talking to right now out in Green Bay ish area, I should say, that I'm looking to do a storage unit this way. So storage units can't necessarily be financed. You can only get 50% financing on it. So there's that angle as well. So I think there's a lot more to be had with commercial than I have even tapped into.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a lot of opportunity there.
Wow. That's nice. That's nice. Wow. Oh yeah. Definitely nice. I just learned quite a bit. That was very helpful.
Which part did you like?
The way you kind of opened yourself up, not just to how you switched it over. You made yourself more accessible to, just not the first party, but both parties, buyer and seller.
Yeah.
And kind of how you collaborated that. So, yeah, it was pretty unique.
It's a feel good, because your seller just doesn't want to, there's a lot of cash buyers out there trying to always get one on somebody. And not that I've ever, I mean, let's put it this way. If you're a cash buyer, I don't think you're always out to get somebody. I just think that sometimes it's less than what your seller's anticipating to get. So therefore,
Right.
when you give them that overall shock, they're like, oh my goodness, I could never do this. So,
Yeah.
so you're like, well, hey, how about this then? And what's nice is, I'll tell you the really good thing about it is, so the Gerlands, they're the sellers. I actually owe them a fish fry in 2 weeks. We're going for a fish fry. That's the relationships I build. So they got all teary-eyed when I showed them, I texted them a picture of the new buyer, and they're like, oh my God, this is like the perfect buyer. Like they felt like they made a difference. And the buyer is like, oh my God, I love these sellers. And actually she wrote a letter to the old sellers saying what nice shape it is. So you got this, like, you're creating change within an area for the seller who doesn't know what to do, and is, you know, had 3 other offers. One offer came in at 35,000 on that property. So,
Wow.
and you have somebody that's like me, like, hey, I'll pay the 91,000. Hey, we can work this out. I'll take some payments over time. And then you created this relationship. Now the buyer, you know, now she actually, this goes back to William's thing. Now the buyer's like, hey, I want to buy a commercial daycare. If you get one on seller financing, please let me know. And she has a very successful daycare, and she's looking to expand it. And she has everything organized. Like, her paperwork is completely organized. I'm like, you want to run my bookwork?
Right.
This is a great person. So they're both happy, you know?
That's
Wow.
great, man. That's great.
Definitely. Definitely. Definitely great. Definitely. Gives people hope that think they don't have it, you know? They think they're like out of the deal at the last minute, and then come up with this other option, and it kind of opens another window, a door for them. And
Right.
yeah, very helpful, man. Very helpful. I mean, very, very helpful. So
No,
yeah,
absolutely. And this is things I want you guys, when you guys get a deal. Lennon, it's Lennon, right?
correct. Yeah,
Yeah, I know we chat a little bit, I think, online, but I think we kind of have a little bit of talking. If not, we should make sure you reach out to me. Like, if you get a deal like this,
yeah.
let's do something together. You know, we can definitely work it. And that's what I've been challenged for, is as I get this, you know, teach the world, and and it's just, it is what it is, you know. And then we have one of our, we're in company of Miss Laurel there. Laurel, how you
I'm here.
doing?
What you're saying is so true. About 4 years ago, I was always making 3 offers, always. And then when the market got so hot, then I kind of switched to the wholesaling or quick flip or whatever. But now that the market's going to make a major shift, here we go again. We're going to make 3 offers,
Yes.
cash, owner finance, or maybe even a lease option, whatever. But even with the lease option, it's a warm, fuzzy feeling because you're helping both sides.
Right.
Wow.
The buyer and sellers love you, so yeah. And the other thing is, what I like about this coming back is when you approach the seller and you come, say you had a legal pad and you had the 3 columns. This is what happened. Well, this is cash. You're climbing a ladder with your offers. But for some reason, when you give them those 3 offers and tell them to sleep on it or whatever, you come back and they feel obligated to take one. It's true. It's like a psychological thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because you're not pressuring them, sleep on it, I'll check with you tomorrow type thing.
Exactly. Yeah, Gino had a deal out in Beaver Dam, and he actually had them labeled 1, 2, and 3. And Gino, are you you got it on? This was the funniest. It's like, speaking of
Yeah.
exactly that, the 3 options.
He did. He did. I when I presented to him, I called him and I had it, through email, and I had it 1, 2, 3, and he was picking from it like he was picking from a value meal at a drive-through. It was really funny. He was like, 1 was a cash offer, 2 was the seller finance, 3 was this, and and it was just so funny how he was picking it like a menu. and he picked the option, and he goes, okay, yeah, let's get the ball rolling then. And you know, it was just, he loved having the options, and it was just so funny how he was picking it like a menu. It was great. And if Chris, if you don't mind me just saying, this is by far in real estate, by far my favorite topic of the seller finance. In fact, literally right now, the place I just recently got divorced, and the place I'm living in now is a friend of mine's, and I just took it over under a land contract using these same principles. So I used it for myself personally, and I'm helping clients right now using the principles of this to help them put a deal together of a house in Watertown. And yeah, it's great stuff. It really opens doors that normally wouldn't be open. So I really like it.
Absolutely. Yeah. You even had the Lake Drive property that we bought under that way. And you and I were in a conference, and I had her on speakerphone, and she just kept going through 1, 2, and 3. And she was with the Navy, higher up with the Navy. And she's like, you know, very methodical in how she thought. And she just couldn't get off the higher number. Like, she's like, you know, I'm trying to, you know, she wound up taking the cash offer on that one, but she was really, really seriously for a while there thinking about the owner financing part, you know, until we got out of it. Like, we were going to do like a 1-year term with her. And,
Yes.
you know, that's the one thing too, is you could do is don't just think of the long haul. You could get into flips this way. And I mean, Gino and I have done a couple flips this way where, like we had the one in Beaver Dam. We took the mortgage, what we paid 3 months on it?
Yeah, about 3 months. And that one actually started with a cash offer. Long story short, there ended up being something else on the title, which would have made the cash offer not reasonable. So we went back to the drawing board, used these principles that Chris is discussing, and we were able to still keep the deal together, and only had it out there, like Chris said, just a few months. And the seller, he was happy. He walked away with some cash up front, and we got into a flip for very little up front, and it was a win-win. And I'm still friends with that client to this day. It was a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, I think we did a 2-to-1. I think we put $25,000 of our own money and made $25,000. So it's like correct. 2-to-1. It's like a 200% return, or 100%, however you look at it.
And we caught up. Yeah, we were able to catch up his arrears, which helped his credit. He walked away with a small amount in his pocket. That's all he was looking for, and to not be having it, go so further back in arrears. And yeah, it was definitely, he's happy as can be, and we did well on it ourselves. So.
And we paid his cell phone bill.
yes, he did.
Keep it on,
yes, we did. Well, we weren't going to let that stop us. He said, I don't know if I can communicate with you guys. My phone bills do. I said, well, we're taking care of that. We're not losing this deal.
Yeah, we couldn't. We couldn't let him, Mr. Keeper, go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So just figured that we just throw out a kind of a deal here, give you guys some free content, and there's no if you act now, like, this is not one of those. We clearly just wanted to put out a deal out there that I was challenged by a couple people, is to put it out there and just be who I am, and that's what I'm doing. So every time I get a deal, I'm going to talk about it. And if I'll record them and start getting you guys all on them. And if you can't make them, but that's how I'm going to start putting stuff out there. I have a flip that we're getting into next week, and I'll definitely let you guys know what's going on with that. And then the following week, we have another flip we're getting into. So it's all kinds of different things that, if structured the right way, where you come up with very few dollars and have investors help you out along the way.
Wow. Well, I'm highly appreciated to be a part of this right
Absolutely.
here. So.
Yes, thank you. I think that, people do feel, some people have put their foot on the brakes and think that they're still looking for a needle in the haystack, but give it about 2-3 months and we're going to have a haystack of needles.
Yes.
And we'll be the ones playing in those needles all day long.
That's right.
Definitely.
Kind of cried their way home, and we're like, we're bad wolf.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
awesome. Anybody got anything else, or?
Is there any way to view a sample of that spreadsheet again?
Yeah, I can. You want me back? You want me back into it here real quick? Let me see if I can. Hold on. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Unfortunately, I can't blow it up. Let me
Yeah,
see.
I can.
Can you? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'll give you guys a copy of this too. So.
Okay, well that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Looks
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
You bet. You bet. You can take a snapshot of it too if you want to. Yeah, nothing I have is probably territorialized or whatever they call it, copyright. I'm just, it is what it is. There it is.
Right.
You know,
Right.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Been to plenty of seminars where they say, don't take a picture. Don't take a picture. Yeah. Yeah. This
Gotcha.
is, you know, act now. And so I do this just to give you guys deals and to hope and whatever. And just the hopes of whenever you guys need help with a deal, you know, we can definitely, there's always, you know, different ways to skin a cat.
Definitely works. Definitely.
Yeah, this stuff is definitely gold, man. I've seen this before, but you're reteaching me, man. You have to sometimes see things twice or 3 times or maybe 10 times.
Or sometimes you got to do it 3-4 times before you start teaching it. And that's why I'm doing it now, because as I teach it to you guys, I get more knowledgeable. Like even when I put this deal together, I'm like, maybe I should have done it this way, you know, but you know, you're always thinking about how you can do things better, you know, and you know, and I think that's how we grow is people.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Chris.
You bet. Anytime. I'll start one of these days. I think in the next 2 or 3 weeks from now is I'll show you how I got an 8 family. It's 2 4 families with only that I got it off of an expired MLS listing, and I put down $30K on it, 30,000, so 15 a unit, which came out to less than 9% down. Which, if you guys know, 4 families usually have to put 30% down on it.
Yeah, at least.
The seller financed it at 3.7%.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's in Cudahy, and they're in Cudahy. Now they needed some work, but yeah, it's in Cudahy. It's 2 4 families, and I got that off at expired, you know. So I'll share that one with you guys within the next 2-3 weeks.
Amazing.
And that one came off MLS. That was no secret. That was just grassroots campaign. I think Gino and I gave each other a challenge that week. We were just revved up about something. We got home from a Chris McClatchy deal or something and seminar, and we're like, okay, I'm going to go after expired. And I went after expired, and I looked in the MLS system. I typed in expired and then financing, that they were able to do financing. And here comes up these 2 4 families. And long story short, because I don't want to give away too much thunder here on it until we teach it next, is I wrote 1 letter. He called within 2 days of me sending it and went out there. We got it under contract. Now that guy took almost 8 months of me to get it under contract, not because he wasn't working with me, because he was in and out of town with his new girlfriend, having fun with her. So, you know, here's a 75-year-old woman or guy dating a 42-year-old. So I'm
wow.
I mean,
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
I would have been in out of town too.
Right.
I was not important at that point.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, we can't wait to get more from you, man.
Yeah,
Can't wait to do
absolutely.
more.
Absolutely. And there's a ton of these deals out here. You don't even have to do the way I marketed stuff. You can just do letters to people. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. So
Hey, I sent out 50 letters last Friday.
did you?
Yes.
Nice. Nice. Anybody
Wow.
say anything? Anybody call you?
I received a call from this one lady. She caught me by surprise, though. I wasn't ready for it. She was like, hello, yeah, is this William Beatty, right? And, you know, I'm so used to saying the business name first, right?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this is William Beatty. And she was like, this is his personal number? I was like, no, this is the NW Estates. And she was like, oh, I wanted to talk. I thought this was a personal guy's number. And then she hung up on me. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. That might have been a lead. So I tried to call her back. And she didn't answer. She was gone. I was like, oh.
You should give her to Gino. Gino would have tried calling her.
Hey,
Yes.
I have her number too, Gino.
Gino, call her.
I'll give it a try. I'll give it a shot. Go for the no, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll just pass them down our chain here. If we can't get a hold of them, somebody will.
Somebody get a hold of her. Yeah, definitely. It was a Florida property too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Wow. Yeah. Well,
Holy
awesome,
cow.
guys. It's been a pleasure having you guys. I told you I'd make it quick, simple, and easy. I kind of flew through that, but, you know, I told you guys it wouldn't be perfected, but I figured put something out there.
Got me
All right,
anxious
thank you.
for the next one. Yes.
Go ahead.
Anxious for the next one. Yeah.
You bet. You bet.
All right, appreciate it.
Catch you guys
All right.
later. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Have a
Thank
great
you, guys.
night.
Bye.
All right. Be good.
Right.